Well, we just saw Dunkirk, and on this show I take my friends, we go see a movie, we review it here in the car, and have a discussion. This review video is spoiler-free, so if you're on the fence or looking for a recommendation, you can watch this video to find out what we thought. And if you've already seen the movie or don't care about spoilers, you can also check out the further video, which is the Dunkirk movie discussion with spoilers. This is a war movie from Christopher Nolan. Talks about a less popular or less well-remembered chapter of World War II when the British had to flee France and they couldn't get off because they're basically trapped in an area where they couldn't get the ships in to help them out. So they had a bunch of ships from a bunch of small vessels that were civilian vessels come and rescue them. The movie's great. It's incredibly well shot. I saw some things about the making of it, and it basically, if they could do it without special effects, they did. So a lot of what you see really happened on real sets. There's real explosions, there's real, they really sank things, they really did everything they could to make it so that the actors were experiencing what it would be like to be on a ship that was torpedoed, for example, and that sort of stuff. It's an ensemble thing, so it's very you only get a few minutes with each. You feel like you only get maybe 15 minutes or so of the running time with each character that's in it, but they're all really very good. There's a bunch of people that have worked with Christopher Nolan before. Mark Rylance is in it. Kenneth Branagh. They all bring something to it. It's all good, and it's cool to see the story. I think my only negative or my only complaint really about the movie is that the way that it's edited, it doesn't let you follow a thread for very long before it jumps into another thread, and so it can be confusing as to what you're watching or who's happening when and where. There were a couple of parts where it was just cutting back and forth between two different airplanes doing different things, and that kind of looked like it was the same thing, but by that point the movie had already shown itself to be so all over the place that you could kind of follow it by that point. There were just a lot of really weird brief scenes that didn't necessarily go very far, and then they would cut back to something else, and they would cut back to that a little bit later. So I found the editing to be a little bit choppy, but it's also kind of keeps the tension of the movie going and kind of keeps you on the edge of your seat watching it. So I liked it. I would recommend it. We saw it in IMAX. It's also possible to find it in 35 millimeter. I'm sure that's great too. So what do you guys think?
I liked it. It really captured kind of chaos and tension, I thought. Maybe it over-relied a bit much on music to carry things through, but that's okay because it was kind of an unconventional score in a lot of ways. It kind of blended music with sound design, and I really enjoyed that. And kind of as a war movie, it's very unconventional. Just it's told from different perspectives, and so the jumping back and forth between different perspectives, even of the same event that's happening, was kind of weird but kind of cool. So still processing it, but definitely it's definitely a big theater kind of movie. Lots of IMAX-y type stuff going on.
Yeah.
I definitely liked it. I had problems with the editing too. It was the time jumps that were really throwing me because it took me a little bit to kind of figure out that there was a point where you kind of went from day to night, and you kind of went, oh, there's some time jumping going on, and it was really hard because all the guys generally looked a lot alike, so you didn't have a strong through line on any of the characters where you could tell where the time jump was. There was the one guy that you could kind of tell, oh, this is earlier the night before or something. That one was made pretty obvious, but the rest was really disorienting. And like you said, it adds to that disorientation of the movie, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's a little bit tricky to follow.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed this movie. The time jumps bothered me, but the absolute chaos of the movie was entrancing. The movie is filmed on this huge open beach, and yet it still feels claustrophobic. It was a wave of emotions. I really enjoyed it. It isn't your typical war movie. It's beautifully shot. Really, really gets you the emotions. I would definitely go watch it.
All right. Well, that's our review. If you want to hear more, check out the spoiler discussion. Otherwise, if you like this, please like the video, subscribe, check out all the written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com. Thanks for watching.